It's Sunday again. And I went to sleep early last night. I felt super depleted and defeated yesterday. I went to go see about a car. Um, and it didn't go in my favor. And so I left there. But you know what? I went to that appointment, full transparency. I went to that appointment with a heaviness in my chest and in my gut. You know, I was so nervous. I was so anxious because, like, I'm not delusional. You know what I mean? Like, I know my credit history is less than ideal, and that, lenders see me as high risk. So I knew that there was at least a 50%, possibility that I would, not walk out of that appointment, with keys in my hand. But a part of me was like, this could be different. I got this letter and then I got this email saying, we have a pre approval for you at XYZ dealer. Um, the end of the month is a great time for folks with, less than perfect credit to apply for auto financing because banks, they want, when the numbers are low, they want to do what they can to go into the new month with decent numbers, sales numbers, and new open accounts. So they're willing to be a little bit more lenient at the end of the month. So please, bring in, your documentation. We want to, do what we can to get you driving. Cool. So I'm like, maybe, this could be a different situation. Maybe I could, maybe not leave with what I specifically want, but with something, which is a lot better than leaving with nothing. But I didn't have very much cash to put down, so it just didn't go the way I wanted to. And I don't have a lot of options in terms of like a cosigner. So mm, you know but I went in there. I definitely went in there with heavy energy, like anticipating the worst outcome. So that didn't work in my favor, and I'm like, why would you walk in there with that vibration? And it just like took over the entire scenario. Most likely I need to change this real bad, because it's looking crazy. um so I came home, with my head hanging down. I felt, like I said, depleted and defeated by the situation. So that wasn't great for a beautiful Saturday afternoon. But I slept on it. I went to bed a little earlier than I anticipated because big feelings. Yesterday was a big feelings day, and I just didn't know how I was going to, maneuver. Like, what do I do now? Do I just let it be? Do I keep trying? Do I, in terms of, vehicle? I mean, I still do have an iron in the fire, with Carvana. The thing about that is the I need the deposit. Like, the minimum deposit I can put down on a car through Carvana is 1,500. So if I can, oh, excuse me, if I can make 1,500, I can make $1,500 happen. And if I have 18, I can get the vehicle that I want. It's 1850 for the SUV that I want. So, um, I tried. I took a chance. It didn't go in my favor. Um, it did. I did allow it to put a damper on my mood yesterday, but it's a new day. The sun is out. The birds are chirping, and we move on to the next thing. And so I'm moving on to the next thing. Um, I do have a plan B and C lined up. So just reminding myself to be grateful in this moment, that my mom is out of work after a successful appendix surgery, and she's not in any condition to drive anytime soon, so I'll be using her vehicle um, to take the stress of spending damn near $100 a day to get back and forth to work. So, you know, I'm grateful for that. It didn't come without challenge, of course. It wasn't a easy ask and then a easy yes, and so it came with some teeth pulling. So, which irks me, you know, as someone who just hasn't had the best experience with support from family, uh, especially the parentals, particularly. So it's just like more of the same, and then I keep hearing this voice in my head going, "You're not asking for too much, you're asking the wrong people. You're not asking for too much, you're just asking the wrong people." And this, just in this last week alone, I've noticed a repeat lesson, which is like, when people show you who they are, it's so important to believe them the first time. Yes, there are instances where, things can be communicated through, and you can give someone grace, or they can extend grace to you, and you can, you know, um, find a path forward when, something happens that triggers you, or, you know, translates as disrespect, or whatever the case is. And I am working at using, or rather integrating, something that I have been discussing a lot with my therapist, as it pertains to my relationships, and where I put boundaries up in my relationships, and being more discerning about when I am in a circumstance that um, calls for a boundary with no reentry, or a boundary that just requires me to enforce it, and enforce it, consistently. Um, because one of the things that I am also becoming more acutely aware of in this season of my healing journey is that there's a lot more places for me to put boundaries with no reentry than I initially anticipated, or that I was like, I guess, completely conscious of. Like, oh wow, there are some places and spaces that I just don't need to revisit because of, the energetic experience that I'm having in that space, and the just the quality of the interactions. And it's like, do I want to make space for those kind of interactions? And, if it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't, um, yeah, that's enough. If that space, that relationship, that the quality of that interaction doesn't feel good to me, I mean, that's enough right there for me to not enter that space again, or, you know, put myself in positions to have encounters that, history has proven that doesn't really jive with me much. So why force myself to be in an energy, in an environment that feels like I am having to tolerate things and people that I would rather not? And in some cases, I feel tolerated as opposed to welcomed and, you know what I'm saying, held in unconditional positive regard. So it's just like, oh man, oops, this is what it feels like to choose for myself and not from a place of, oh, well, I don't want them to think that I'm mad at them, or I don't want anybody to think that, uh, you know, I don't want anybody to assume anything. So I'm just going to do the thing that will lead them to believe everything is all good. And that's not healthy for me, because if I don't feel good in that space, if I don't feel good around these people, then it's harmful to continue to, to do that. Like, why keep going back to something that doesn't feel good just because you want to keep them from assuming anything negative, or starting a narrative and circulating that amongst themselves. Hey man, you can't control that. You know what you can control? Where you go, who you're around, and the kind of energy you entertain. And if I don't prioritize those things for myself, who is? You know, when people don't want to be around you, they don't want to talk to you, that they, they peace. I'll holler at you when I feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people choose and they don't think to themselves, hey, I wonder what Niche thinks about this. What would Niche do? And you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody does that. But I have this pattern of giving other people um like so much authority over things that impact me. And it's like, no, girl, you have authority over you. You get to say yes to this, no to that, yes to that, no to this, at your discretion. And nobody has to like it or agree with it or whatever, because this is what it's like to exercise agency and autonomy over your energy, your time, your space, whatever it is that, pertaining to you. Like, you get to safeguard that the same way everybody else safeguards and insulates themselves from people, places, and things that don't, vibrate with them. And some people don't at all. They're just like, oh, whatever, this is what I'm supposed to do because family, or this is what I'm supposed to do because, best friend, or, partner, whatever. And it's just like, not if you don't want to. If you don't want to, don't. So I'm still uncomfortable doing that. I'm still a little uncomfortable choosing myself, and it feels foreign, but it also feels good, because it's like, I am choosing. I get to say, and this guilt about, what will people think? What will they say? What are they saying amongst themselves? And it's like, who gives a fuck? Why do you care so much? Satisfy yourself. Put Niche in the best position to be um to be grounded and in my own energy. Like, I'm allowed to say, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to participate in that. I don't want to be around these people doing these things. I don't want that, right? And it's hard. It's hard when it's new. It's fucking hard, but it has to be done in order for me to grow and become more grounded in my own energy, and become less concerned with what people think, assume, or say about how I'm moving around. Nobody consults with me about, their decisions, or, whatever. They just do their thing. I mean, sure, everybody, well, maybe that's presumptuous to say everybody, but I would think that some people have, that someone or those someones that they go to just like spitball their idea, or just to like talk through something before they execute on it. um like, some people go to their best friend, or their closest sibling, or a mentor, like talk through this with me kind of thing, you know? Um, but you still have the final say because it's your circumstance, it's your life, it's your discernment, your intuition, all these things. And I am still at 38 learning to exercise that authority over my life, my time, and my choices. And I don't think, I know and I feel that it is better for me to be in my own energy right now as much as possible because I am still healing the part of myself that is overly concerned with what other people may say or think or are saying and thinking about me and my choices and, what my life looks like on paper, off paper, whatever. Just, you know what I'm saying? No, thank you. I saw a video this morning that spoke deeply and aggressively to my spirit. This is what makes me believe that the angels, the ancestors that are guiding me and watching over me, they are fed up with me because this woman was literally screaming into her camera delivering this message. And it wasn't like one of the tarot girls, one of the spiritual girls. That I didn't see that content on her channel, but she is in her car, and her channel is called Dough Dash. Dough, like spelled like dough, like pastry dough dash, right? So she's chronicling her life since, leaving her traditional 9 to 5 job. She's doing gig work, making $300 a week because she had to, she came to the realization that working a traditional job is not for her. And so, she's uh, chronicling that experience and encouraging other people to make their own way because like a lot of us have now deduced, these companies and organizations don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a shit that the cost of living is going through the fucking stratosphere. They're not trying to pay us higher salaries to keep up with the cost of living. They just want you to come in and work, 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 work for the same ass money. Okay? So she is delivering this message and she's like, girl, these people, they hire you because of what's inside of you, because of the gifts, the skills, and the talent that you have inside of you already. Like you are the job. Like they are hiring you, paying you less than your worth to do things that you are skilled, talented, and adept at. So, why aren't you using your skills and your talent and your gifts to make you money on your terms? You see how powerful the social media platforms are. Why don't you have a YouTube channel? Why aren't you telling your story? Why aren't you sharing your art? Why aren't you using your abilities that they underpay you for to earn money on your terms at your own rate? What are you doing? Having a traditional job is not the be all end all. You see how many people out here who have all the degrees and they still live in paycheck to paycheck because the cost of living is not going down. So it's not about education. It's not about having all the degrees. It's not about getting a higher position in the company because what's going to happen? You're going to get that higher position and they're still not going to pay you what you're worth, but you're going to be stressed to the max and you're not going to have time to come home and live your life and do things that make you happy. So, what are you doing? Why don't you have a YouTube channel? Why aren't you figuring out and educating yourself on how you can monetize off of you instead of letting these companies and organizations make money off of you? And all you got to show for is bill money, stress, and not being well rested. What are you doing? Make the YouTube channel, Get on social media, use your gifts and talents to elevate your quality of life. What are you waiting for? Make the channel, tell the story, share the art, do the stuff that scares you. You should be making money off of you, not them. Why are you letting them people underpay you and play in your face? And she said it a lot more aggressively than that and a lot significantly louder than that. But that message was for me. That was for me. Girl, tell your story. Tell your stories, because the stories are some people won't even believe the shit that, like, it's like, is she for real? I'm dead ass. These stories can be corroborated by individuals who have either witnessed personally or, by some other means because of the nature of our relationship. But she's right. Like, she's right. And I've been knew this. I've been new. And I know that's like grammatically incorrect. I've been knew this. She's not saying anything that I don't already know. But it is a reminder, a stark, loud reminder from the spirit realm. Girl, the time, look at how uncomfortable you are. Look at all these hurdles you got going on. How much more uncomfortable do we have to make you in this lifetime for you to realize? Just share your art. Just tell the stories. Just put it out there. Don't worry about how many people see it. Don't do it because you're worrying about who it's going to resonate with. Girl, just put it out there and let the people find you. And one of my homegirls posted, she reposted something on her story yesterday that said, share your art every day so you can meet interesting people. Share your art every day so you can start meeting interesting people. And I know it's true, because back in, what was that, 2021, I want to say, when I started, back in 2021, I had developed this I developed the motivation to share my writing on a public platform. So I started an account on medium.com, which is a huge, writers platform. People start blogs there. Um, People share there's several poetry communities there. Like, it's beautiful. And when I was doing that, I did meet a lot of interesting people. Like, my writing was resonating with hundreds of people. Were coming to my writers nook, and they were reading my stories, they were reading my poems, they were sharing my poems, they were reposting them. There is an audience for my style of writing. So I proved that. And then I started posting reflections on my Instagram page, and I was getting traction with my reflection posts. And it was like, whatever I experienced that week, um, I would use the lesson that I got from whatever happened to me that week, and I would turn it into a reflection, and I would post, like, just like a couple of lines about, you know, my takeaway from what occurred in my life that past week, and, the like a little nugget that I took from whatever I had overcome, or, something difficult, or some revelation that I had come to, based on my experience that past week or weeks. But I'm not consistent with it. Like, it's probably been a month since I posted a reflection post on my Instagram. So there's that. It's like, girl, if you just stay consistent, your audience will come. The people that this resonates with, it will come. They will come, But because I have this fear that I'm just like talking into the void, and it's like, okay, but so what? At first, yeah, like, you're gonna be talking into the void, but the internet is a huge place. And the algorithms don't seem to fuck up. Like whatever vibration you on, they will send you content that is in alignment with that frequency. So my content has a specific frequency, and the people that are supposed to find it, it will align with them. And I know that because I've seen it, but still there is this like uh I don't want to no, I don't think is it analysis paralysis? Maybe that is what I'm experiencing, where it's just like, I don't know, this could happen and that could happen. And it's like, you don't know what you don't know, girl. So put it out there so you can know. And then there's no guessing about it. Just consistently put it out there, just to, if for nothing else, to make space, right? If for nothing else, put it out there to make space so that all the rest of this I don't want to say gunk, but just like every creative idea that I have is just, I'm just hoarding it in here and in here, and it needs to be released. So it's like, once, and I know how it is, it's like once those creative juices get flowing, it's like, uh, it's like a waterfall, you know. It's like this constant. It's like, oh, I'm in a rhythm now. Like, okay, now I can start working on this thing that I was thinking about. Oh, now I get to rework this poem, or I have this story that I've been thinking about. Let me get that out my system. So it's like, once the water starts to, it's like we're treading. Oh, we good now. Then the floodgates are open. So it's like, consistency is the key to the writing, creating, floodgates opening up. And I remember over the past couple months seeing a lot of videos in my YouTube algorithm that were other black creatives talking about how a person's fear of being seen can hold them back from that major breakthrough that they need in their lives. And I'm like, why do I keep seeing this? Why I keep seeing this content about, fear of being seen? And I'm like, is that it? Am I afraid of being seen? Like, is that like really the thing? Like, I'm afraid to be seen. Fuck. Okay. Maybe that is what it is. Or what resonates with me more deeply is this fear of rejection. Like, I've I've come to know rejection very intimately in my life, and it's like, I anticipate it at this point. I anticipate being disappointed. And that's hard. It's been challenging to work through. It is hard for me to believe in the best possible outcome. That's what holds me back as well. And it's like, girl, you got to show up though. You got to show up. You have to show up for you. I can't keep like not showing up for my art because I'm so overly concerned with the rejection. It's like, they, all the people that fall under the umbrella of they didn't show up for me when it was their responsibility to, and when they had the capacity to. So now it's up to you. Are you going to follow suit? You. Are you going to follow suit with what everybody else did and harm yourself by not showing up for you? Like, why would you continue the pattern that everybody else, is guilty of, purporting in your life? Like, why? So that's part of my work right now, like learning to show up for me in ways that other people couldn't, didn't, or just flat out chose not to. Like, I'm no better than them when it comes to supporting me and taking care of me if I just keep that tradition of not showing up going. And that is the truth. That's the truth. Like, you gotta you gotta show up. You have to show up for your art, because showing up for your art is showing up for you. And I'll never know how the universe, the angels, source, I'll never know what blessings can come to me as a result of putting my art out there if I don't start putting it out there. So I've had this idea for a while about doing a poetry book, um, an artistic telling um, of my experience, my trauma experience. The little Tanisha needs to be freed from that trauma. And I, I, I kind of straddled the fence on whether or not to do like a fiction, but not really fiction novel about my experience. Um, and then the more I thought about it, it was just like, do I really want to revisit that story in that way? Maybe not. So I did an outline for a book of poetry, and I thought I could do it, in three parts. Either one book in three parts for three different sections of my life, or I could do three books. I could do one poetry book just um, for little Tanisha to get her story out and get her freed. And then the second installment would be adolescent Tanisha and the challenges that she experienced, and what it was like being her at that time. And then young adult Tanisha would be the third installment. And then the fourth could be where I'm at right now, on my healing journey, making peace with a lot of things and people that can't join me on my quest to discovering who I am. Because that's another revelation that I've come to um, in this season of my healing, is that it's not, for me, this experience is not so much about getting back to myself. It's more of getting to know myself, because I've only known myself through the lens of my trauma experience. I don't actually know who I am without that. And so, in releasing that, in liberating the little girl in me that still wants to be acknowledged and cared for in ways that she wasn't growing up, I need to liberate her so that I can step into um, who I'm actually meant to be. And if I don't free my younger selves, I mean, I'll never get where I'm supposed to be. So I hope Spirit knows, like, I hear you. I see the signals. I'm getting the messages. Please don't run out of patience with me, because I don't always get it right away, but in the end I always get it. And that's one thing I do know about myself. It may take me a while to get it, but I always get it. And the integration part, is like, that's the moral of the story. Integrating the healthier habits, the new ways of taking care of myself, and, like, taking care of myself has many forms, and I just didn't know, I didn't know. And that's where I'm at, integrating better ways of showing up for myself, taking care of myself, and discovering who the fuck I am. That's what this is. I'm discovering who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing, and practicing more brave, more intentional um, action, more brave and intentional action, um, and grounding myself in knowing that I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for myself, not for external validation, not for anybody's approval, not for anybody to like, hey, come see me. Look what I did. Isn't it great? Oh, yes, I'm so glad you like it. No, 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 no. I am an artist. Even when I'm not creating, I'm still an artist, but especially when I'm creating, right? And it is my desire, it is my goal to ground more deeply into my artist nature going forward. So, yesterday happened. Wasn't great news at the end of the day, but it's a new day. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. The wind is blowing. And I also discovered that I love the sound of the leaves on the trees when the wind is blowing really strong. So that's happening today, and I'm grateful for that. Um, I'm grateful for the people in my life who know what I'm experiencing right now and know what happened yesterday and sent me messages of encouragement, prayer, and positive affirmation. Because to me, that is love. Not the judgment, not the cynicism, not the shoulda, coulda, woulda speech, just encouragement, positive affirmation, and, you know, words that will ring in my mind and make me or help me to feel less shame and less embarrassment and less discouragement about my circumstances. And that to me feels like love, like support. So I am grateful for those people um, who have the capacity to be gentle with me, to be gracious towards me. Um, and I'm doing my damnedest to just focus on that. Thank you for listening.